This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
On the next Discover the Upper Cumberland, we remember our past as we visit the Cookeville History Museum and the Crossville Military Museum, as well as a bladesmith who revives ancient techniques, and we look to preserve our future through the Nature Conservancy. So come along, and together we'll discover the Upper Cumberland. Welcome to Discover the Upper Cumberland. We're so excited to take you out into the Upper Cumberland to visit with the talented, interesting people and remarkable places throughout our region. I am Celeste Platt-Bennett, and I'm honored to be your guide on this adventure. It's important to understand the history of our region because there are so many people and events that help shape our path. In this episode, we're going to take some time to visit a few of the many remarkable places here in the Upper Cumberland that give us a glimpse into the past and give us some ideas on how to aid in the betterment of our future. Our first stop on this adventure is the Cookeville History Museum. The Cookeville Museums are growing every day, every week, every month, and every year. We saw almost 15,000 guests last year between the two museums. I personally have been with the museum since 2012, and I've seen great growth, but you know, my predecessor, the great Judy Duke, started all that long before I came on board. She left a great template and a great roadmap for us to go by, and it's all thanks to her that we've been able to continue to grow all the programming and all the presentations and events that we're able to do here.
When you come in off of the street, say, it is a self-guided tour. Or if you have a group or a specific interest, like we recently had a needlepoint group come, and I knew that their interests were in textiles, so Together I worked with the group to pull out those items and make the tour specific to them and something that they would be interested in. It could be anyone from a senior group to preschool groups. We really try to cater to our audience the best that we can, and with all of the resources that we have.
The biggest artifact that we have in the museums in Cookeville, Tennessee is the Cookeville Depot Museum itself. The depot building is an artifact that dates back to 1909. We almost lost it in the mid-70s. The railroad was going to tear it down, as it did with most of the other depots on the line. So a group of concerned citizens got together and decided that they were going to save that building, and they did. The city council at the time got behind the deal, and the railroad ended up selling it to the city of Cookeville for $1. So we're very lucky to still have that building. We love it so much. It's a centerpiece of the west side of Cookeville. Of course, we also have the steam engine, which is kind of an amazing thing to have. Not everyone has one of those in their driveway. So I think it's really amazing that kids can come in particular and really check out a 100-year-old steam engine, something that they may never have the chance to climb aboard, but they get to do that in Cookeville.
I have a very unique relationship with the artifacts because I do most of the tours, so I've spent a lot of time looking at them. Pioneer life was very hard. You'd have to hunt and gather and forage and work the farm, but in the artifact case, I think that's funny that even though we had to churn butter and build fires and heat up our iron next to the stove, that you still had time for waffles. There's a waffle iron in the Pioneer room.
People come in to this building and they get taken back. It's just a walk through time, and people love it so much. It's not just the history of Cookeville and Putnam County, it's your history, and people love that. So they get to come in here and see the photo of the oldest house in town, the first home built in Cookeville, and that's a really amazing thing. It's still standing. W.D. Stone is there now. It was Miss Nina's Christmas house. I think people remember that.
We have several annual events that we do. In the springtime, we do a story fest in the park. We invite nationally accredited and famous storytellers to deliver their performances. We do 2 events that we rotate every other year. Every even year is what we call the cemetery walk. So we invite people, we get actors to portray notable or interesting stories that we find that are buried in the city cemetery. Then on the odd years, we do what we call Night at the Museums, where we bring those actors back and we ask them to portray someone that would be in history, whether it be a moonshiner or a pioneer school teacher, and we have them set up between here and the Depot Museum, and each stop they have a destination that they tell their story, and it's free and audiences get to come, and it's a really good fun night and good time.
The City of Cookeville and the Department of Leisure Services love to partner up with all of our local community friends. A few years ago, we did the WHUB 75th anniversary. We have the WCTE 40th anniversary exhibit that's happening. It's really fun, and we're so lucky to have the support of our city, to have the support of our community partners, and we're able to bring all these great events and exhibits to the community. So many things to come in and see and walk through time in the Cookeville History Museum, in the Cookeville Depot. It's not boring and dry, and everyone here is warm and friendly, so everyone should come and see it.
Now we take a short drive into our neighboring town of Sparta, Tennessee, to visit a man who has always had a fascination with the history of bladesmithing. He has taken that fascination and turned it into an incredible art. Jay Replogle has gained international attention as an elite bladesmith that has chosen to stay with the ancient techniques that have brought bladesmithing to where it is today.
A bladesmith is someone who specifically makes knives through the forging process. I take steel, heat it up in the fire, and forge blades. I got into bladesmithing from when I was a kid. You know, going hunting with my dad, you know, we always used knives, and you know, me and my brother, we loved Lord of the Rings, we loved fantasy kind of things, and so swords and knives have always been an interest of mine. And also, my aunt and uncle used to take me on a vacation to a historical place every year. And so I had this real love for history and the Civil War and things of that nature. So when you get history and knives and you put it together, you get a bladesmith. So that's where I am. One of the things that interests me the most about bladesmithing is the historical side of bladesmithing. I like to do things the traditional way because I think it's something that needs to be preserved. Doing it the old way, doing it by hand, you get something very special when you're finished. You know, a one-of-a-kind piece. Every knife I make is different. Is a one-of-a-kind, handmade piece. They may look similar, but they're every one different, and I like that side of things, the historical side. The process for making a knife, I start off by selecting a steel. You know, I pick a particular steel for the particular knife I'm making. Then I will forge the blade using a forge and an anvil and a hammer, like a blacksmith. You know, I'll forge it like that. And then I grind the blade on a grinder to clean it up. then I'll do the heat treat, and then I'll go on to final polishing and assembly. And so it's pretty long process, but it makes a really good knife. What differentiates me from say a production factory is, you know, every knife that I make is overseen by me, it's made by me, all the processes are done by hand by me. And so when you purchase a knife from me, you know that it is as high quality as I can produce. I mean, and that's what I'm into. I'm into high quality performance cutting knives and implements. And so I have a greater control over every single process than say a factory would have. I had an opportunity to be on Forged in Fire, which is a History Channel program, pretty much as a joke. My buddy Abe, who I share a shop with, he's an architectural blacksmith. He found it online, application online. He said, "You should fill it out." And I was like, "No, I'm not filling it out." He's like, "Do it." And so I filled out the application, and then they contacted me and just kept going back and forth. And before you know it, it was, here's a ticket to New York, be on the plane at this time. And so what sort of started off as, because I never considered that I would actually be on the show. So what started off kind of as a joke, like went all the way through, and you know, I went on Forged in Fire and won it. So it's kind of a funny story. What I made for the show, I had to make a friction folding knife, and I had 3 hours to make the blade, and I had 3 hours to assemble it and make a handle. And so they put them through rigorous tests, and my knife survived. And so I went on to the final round where I made what's called a German Zweihander. It was a 60-inch, about 7-pound sword, two-handed sword. And I had to build it in 1 week, which a project like that would probably take 3.5 weeks to build normally. And so it was, it was crunch time. My plans for Rep Local Armory are to just keep making high quality blades, even higher quality. You know, I'm always striving to better myself, better my blades, better my product, and just keep growing and expanding my skill set, and just keep doing it until I can't do it anymore. People that are interested in blade making should probably take a class. You know, Appalachian Center for Craft has lots of classes. It's a fairly expensive thing to get into by the time you buy all of the equipment. You know, taking a class is the best way to learn and really kind of figure out if you want to go all in or not.
As we mentioned earlier, the past is important to our future because we can see how our world can be affected positively or negatively due to our actions. The Nature Conservancy is a program that sees the way our actions can hurt the beauty of nature around us, and they work hard to help preserve our gorgeous landscape. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak with Paul Kingsbury of the Nature Conservancy to find out more about their crucial work. We are here in the beautiful Cummings Falls State Park today with Paul Kingsbury from the Tennessee chapter of the Nature Conservancy. Thank you, Paul, for joining us today.
Celeste, it's so good to be with you.
And talking with us.
Yeah.
We want to learn anything that we can and all about what the Nature Conservancy does here in our Upper Cumberland area in the 14 counties of the Upper Cumberland.
Well, you know, the Nature Conservancy, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary year this year. We were chartered in 1978. And we work all over the state, and we're part of an organization that works in all 50 states and 70 foreign countries. But we've really got deep roots here in Tennessee and done a lot of good work in the Cumberland Plateau. You know, we're here right now, as you said, at Cummings Falls State Park, and we've helped on a restoration burn to restore shortleaf pine here. You know, they're beautiful hemlocks down at Cummins Falls, and we've treated them so they won't come down with the hemlock woolly adelgid. We've got places that we've protected, like Washmorgan Hollow in Jackson County. If you go up and down the plateau, we've done big things like expanding Frozen Head State Park. We more than doubled the size of that in 2007. Doubled the size of Savage Gulf and helped protect it, you know, back on the southern plateau.
So tell me a little bit of the long-term benefits to all of this work that you do in the area to conserve.
You know, one part of our globalism now, you know, we're all connected across the globe, is sometimes invasive species get here, like the hemlock woolly adelgid is something that attacks our hemlocks and can kill them. Things like shortleaf pine, you know, it's something that a lot of man-made activity, including suppressing natural fire from lightning, has made it hard for shortleaf pine to persist because it kind of needs some natural fire from time to time. So what we try to do is restore natural systems for people and nature. That's our mission.
So Paul, tell us about an area here in the Upper Cumberland that you have seen really flourish from the work that the Tennessee Conservancy has done.
Well, I can tell you about a beautiful little place that's nice to go to in the springtime, which is Washmorgan Hollow.
And that's in Jackson County.
Yep, along the Roaring River. It just every spring, you know, here in April, it blooms with all kinds of wildflowers. One place that we protected back in 2005 is up in Fentress County. It's called Pogue Creek Canyon, and it's now a state natural area. We've turned it over to the state, but it's a beautiful canyon that looks like something out of the American Southwest, with beautiful sandstone, almost rainbow colors in the canyon walls, and thanks to the state and other partners, now we've got great trails there for people to visit. I really encourage them to go out there.
So open to the public?
Open to the public.
A lot of the areas that you guys protect and...
Absolutely. We try to really make things open to the public as often as we can.
Wonderful. For future generations, what do you recommend that we, as residents here in the state of Tennessee, or what can we do to help better your cause, to help better our area? Tell us the importance of every day or what you're doing with the Nature Conservancy.
There is a lot that people can do. Things that we recommend, you know, don't forget to plant trees, because trees are amazing vacuum cleaners of pollution from our air, and they soak up stormwater. You know, think about things like don't pour chemicals down storm drains. You know, don't mow right up to a stream bank, because that grassy vegetation actually filters out pollutants and fertilizers and things like that. So yeah, right in your own backyard, you can make changes that really help the environment. One project area that I was visiting just yesterday is something that we're doing with private landowners to protect their private forests, because so many people own substantial areas of forest, and that really helps our environment when we protect those trees. So we've got a new program called Working Woodlands in Tennessee. I was visiting a 3,000-acre property yesterday, and we've worked with the family to make sure that they now are using the best management practices on their forest to conserve it, and they are able to sell carbon credits on the voluntary market to make extra money for their family.
Fabulous. And this is something happening right here in White County.
And White County is just one place we're doing it. Frankly, we are doing this, rolling this program out all over Tennessee. And if folks want to get in touch with us, go to nature.org/Tennessee to learn all about our Tennessee work. If they want to see what we do, you know, all over the United States and the world, it's just nature.org.
Tell us if we have individuals and residents across the viewing area, and I'm sure that we do, that want to support your work. How do they go about doing that?
Private donations are very important, because we're not a government agency, and we only get the really good work that we do done with the help of everybody else.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us
and
coming
out
and taking your time to give us some
pleasure.
insight on the Tennessee Conservancy.
Yeah.
In the chaos of our nation today, it's easy to get caught up in the negativity and lose sight of how great our country truly is. Many brave men and women have given their lives to provide the freedoms we take for granted and sometimes abuse. The Crossville Military Museum is an amazing place that remembers all those who have served and are still serving to preserve those freedoms and privileges.
What we want to show is the younger generation what it took to get to where we are today, and that freedom is not free. You must fight for it and defend it. And so we honor all of our military folks, and all the schools in Crossville come through the museum right before fall break. So we get about 900 kids through here right before fall break, all 12 schools in Crossville. The museum opened in 2002 with 100 items, and we have over 5,000 items now. The building was empty. It was used as a meeting place for the Historical and Genealogical Society. When that society dissolved, the head of the society asked the county mayor what he had planned for the building, and he had nothing. She suggested a military museum to honor our military folks. So he leased the building to us for 50 years to set up the museum. We opened it in 2002 with 100 items, and like I say, we have over 5,000 items now. The museum is laid out from the Civil War up to today's Afghanistan and Iraq. We have a Civil War area. And by the way, the Civil War had an original name. Civil War was a final name for it. The original name of the Civil War was the War of the Rebellion. That's why the Southern troops were called rebels, or Johnny Reb. But we have the Civil War area. We have World War I, World War II, the German prisoner of war camp that was in Crossville, called Camp Crossville. We have Korea, Vietnam, and Afghanistan and Iraq. Everything in here is donated. And about 10% is from Crossville. The rest is from all over the world. We get items from Australia, Germany, Japan, France, England, all 50 states. As visitors, when they come through here, about 6 months or a year later, we'll get a package saying, "I remembered your museum, thought you'd like to have this." And all the weapons that you see here, people, if we didn't want them, they were going to go to the trash dump. We have a lot of one-of-a-kind things in this museum that you won't see anywhere else. We have a tear catcher in the Civil War era, where the lady of the house would collect her tears in a perfume bottle, and if her husband, a male part of the family died, she would pour them on his grave. If he survived, she would show how she wept for him while he was gone. We have an actual Confederate battle flag flown by General Nathan Bedford Forrest at the Battle of Stones River. We have a flag designed by the survivors of the Bataan Death March called American Ex-Prisoners of War. There are less than 3,000 of those flags in existence. We have a layout of the POW camp that was in Crossville, Camp Crossville, where we specialized in German officers. We had 1,550 of Rommel's North Africa Corps officers here. The population of Crossville was 810. Since all the young men were off at war, if a local family needed an electrician, carpenter, plumber, handyman, someone to work on the farm, the prisoners would be sent out to town to do the work, and they got paid for it. A lieutenant got $20 a month, and a major or colonel got $50 a month. They had access to the Sears catalog and the Post Exchange. They could buy anything they wanted. They had tailors come in and make clothes for them. They were treated very well. They had 4 meals a day. Cumberland County was a dry county, and the guards couldn't have any alcohol, but each German prisoner was given a bottle of beer a day. They'd save it to the weekend and have a big beer bash on the weekend. Now, Camp Crossville is reported to be the oldest POW camp in the United States. There were eventually 900, 450,000 prisoners, but Camp Crossville was the first. come and see how the transition from the early wars to the present, the change in the weapons, the change in the uniforms, the sacrifices that were made. Everything you see in here is personal items, personal weapons, personal medals, letters, commendations. Crossville had a Medal of Honor recipient, Milo Limmert, and we have his memorabilia here in the museum. As a veteran, you know, we're all proud to serve. We all did what we needed to do, and it's just one way of saying thank you to our veterans for the sacrifices that they made.
Thank you for exploring the Upper Cumberland with us. For more information on this show, visit our website, WCTE.org/discover. If you have any story ideas that you think we should feature, email us at discover@wcte.org. I'll see you next time, and together we'll discover the Upper Cumberland.
This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.